just threw me off. Hold on. Hey fam, welcome back to I think this is the second installment of my credit series. Yes, it is my second installment of the credit series. So, welcome. Today I will be discussing credit further, breaking down the 5 categories of credit score, credit ranges, the difference between FICO and your Vantage score, and ways to improve your credit. So stick around, watch this, learn a few things. So to begin, I'm distracted. Anyway, your credit score is broken down into 5 different categories. We'll start with the first and most important one, which is your payment history. This is the largest chunk of your credit history, which is 35%. So your credit history is pretty much your track record of how you've been paying your credit and your debt. So if you have, for example, if you have a credit card that you've had for about a year, 2 years, however long, what's the history of you paying that back? Are you on time? Are you paying it late, consistently, or do you go into default with your creditors? So it comprises of 35%. So just be very aware and very careful of your credit history. So if you have had a not so good credit history in the past, start today with paying and keeping current on your current lines of credit, any accounts that you may have. So it's 35%. Moving on, we have the next category, which is credit utilization, which is 30%. Now, credit utilization means how much is owed on each account. So using a lot of your available credit is not good because it shows, that looks like a nipple, but it's not. It shows creditors, when you use a lot of your credit utilization, it overextends you, and then you're more likely to default on your loans because you don't have the money to, not saying you don't have the money to pay it back, but the likelihood of paying it back is harder because you're overextended. So for example, if you have, say you have 3 credit cards and you max out all 3 of your credit cards, you get paid a certain. Credit utilization is the amount owed on your account. So it's how much available credit that you use. So you want to be careful not to overextend yourself, meaning don't use a lot of available credit that you have. So you'll most likely hear, or you've most likely heard, keep your utilization below 30%. So that means don't go over 30% of your credit limit, because it will in fact decrease your credit score. It will decrease your credit score. Overextending yourself or utilizing a lot of available credit that you have, it puts you at risk for default in the lender's eyes. So you want to be very careful with the utilization. So this is why it's 30% of your credit score, your total credit score. So moving on, the next component or the next category that comprises your credit score is the length of your credit history. This is 15%, and that just means the age of your accounts. So you can have old credit accounts, new credit accounts. That's just all your credit history. For example, part of my credit history is my student loans. I graduated Temple, TU. I graduated Temple in 2002. I'm old. I'm seasoned. I graduated Temple in 2002. All my student loans are paid off, have been paid off for the past 9 years. Shout out to me. My student loans have been paid off for the past 9 years. However, my student loan history is still on my credit report. So that's part of my credit history. Whereas though, let me see, my most recent account, Let me see. The most recent account that I've opened was maybe like 3 years ago. I think in 2017. So 4 years ago. And that's my most recent account. So the oldest one, long time ago. The newest one is 4 years ago. So that's part of my credit history. That's 15% of, you know, my collective credit score. Sorry about the door cracking. It's open. It's a beautiful day. Letting a little bit of air in. So the next part is 10%. That's your credit mix. Credit mix is credit cards, retail cards, different types of loan, mortgages, car notes, things like that. The importance of you having a credit mix is lenders are able to see that you can manage different types of credit and pay them back. So pretty much that's self-explanatory, credit mix. And then the last one is 10%. The last 10% is new credit. So like I told you, my newest account is 4 years old. So 35% credit history, 30% credit utilization, 15% length of credit, 10% credit mix, and the last 10% is new credit. So you just learned something. So that's the breakdown of how they calculate your credit score. Now, since your payment history, just 30%, is the largest part of scratching again, child. It's the largest part of your credit. Makes up the largest part of your credit. Just be careful to not default on any of your accounts because things stay on your credit report. Wait a minute. Things stay on your credit report for 7 years, right? They can remain on your credit for 7 years. Derogatory. I need to check my credit report. Look at me sitting here doing a goddamn video. I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm telling people check your credit monitoring, and I'm realizing, like, I check my credit monitoring, but I'm just now realizing right now today that I have not looked at my credit report because I'm just realizing there. I need to look into that. I'm gonna look at my credit report today. I might have to delete this part because I don't want to give out false information. Let me see something. I had to check something because I thought I was tripping. Now, derogatory accounts can stay on your credit report for 7 years. If you have old accounts, like I mentioned, my student loans, they're still on my credit report, even though it's been past 7 years. But these accounts are noted as closed, but with exceptional payment history. So that's part of my payment history, and it's good history. So that's why it's still on there. I think I opened them in 2000. Dang, I'm dating myself because it's 2021. But dang, that's a long time. At any rate, the point is my student loans are part of my credit history and they have been paid off. And it's part of my credit history as part of the exceptional payment history. So just be careful of those derogatory accounts because they'll stay on your credit report for 7 years. You can opt to get credit repair services, or you can learn how to do credit repair yourself, which I will be teaching. How to repair your own credit, and then you can get these things off your credit report yourself, and then you can also help your family or charge someone. So you have plenty of options. However, we're going to move on. We're going to keep that for now. Just Okay, so that's how your credit score is broken down. So next, I want to talk about credit score ranges, because what's a good credit score range? What's a bad credit score range? So pretty much, to have poor credit, your credit score would be 300. In the last video, I said 4. I didn't even realize or remember that it started at 300. That's low, but 300 to 579 is a poor credit score. If you fall in these ranges, fast forward to the end. Well, not fast forward because you want to watch this whole thing, but pay attention to the end of this video, where I talk about secure credit cards. A fair credit score is 580 to 669. Still got some work to do, but it's not poor. A good credit score is 670 to 739. This is like the US average. Not going to say most people, but the average American falls within this range. Good. If you're in that category, kudos to you. However, keep doing things to get that credit score up, because if you watch the last video, you realize how your credit score affects your interest rate, right? So to have very good credit, you need a 740 to 799. And then to have excellent credit, excellent, is 800 to 580. So this is the credit score range, according to FICO. This is the FICO credit score range. The Vantage credit score range, it differs. Vantage is a little more lenient with their ranges. I'm not really going to discuss it or break it down because 90% of lenders utilize the FICO score. So not saying the Vantage score breakdown isn't relevant. It's just not relevant. So that's the breakdown of the credit score ranges. So see where you fall. Are you poor, fair, good, very good, or excellent? So wherever you may have heard, this is a pretty pen, right? You may have heard 2 different credit scoring models, the FICO score and the Vantage score. You may be like, well, what's the difference? And who uses what? Now, 90% of lenders use the FICO score model. The Vantage score model was developed 14 years ago by the big 3. Big 3 is Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. However, FICO score is the more popular one, and that's what most lenders go by. You will notice that places like Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, they'll give you your Vantage score, and you'll get your FICO score through Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. And you'll notice that there is a difference between your credit scores. Typically, what I've seen just in my experience, the FICO score is always higher than my Vantage score. However, the Vantage scoring model is more lenient than the FICO score model. However, either way, it doesn't matter to me personally, because lenders typically look at your FICO score, and my FICO score is phenomenal. Not bragging, but it's pretty good. So that's the difference between FICO and Vantage. Now, there's that fly right there. You have 3 credit reports, 1 through TransUnion, 1 through Equifax, and 1 through Experian. All 3 credit reports will typically have a different credit score. Why? Because each credit reporting agency has a different scoring model, right? You may also notice that all 3 of your credit reports may have something different on it. So you might notice that an account that's on your Equifax and TransUnion may not be on your Experian credit report. You may notice, excuse me, Alexa, alarm off. You may notice that names may be spelled differently within all three of your credit reports, different addresses reported, a job may be reported in one and not the other, different phone numbers, things like that. If you pull all three of your credit reports, you'll notice that it does have most of the same information, but some different information, and that's due to when agencies report to credit, let me see, how can I explain this? When lenders report to these credit reporting agencies, they may or may not report to all three. Pretty much that's why. So it's very important for you. I don't know if I mentioned this in the first video, but every year you are entitled to a free credit report through annualcreditreport.com. I will, if I remember, I'll try to put the link in the description below, but you're entitled to one free credit report through annualcreditreport.com. You can only access it once every 365 days, so on day 366 you can access your credit report again. You can go there, print out all three of your credit reports for free, and go through them to make sure that everything in there is accurate. If things are not accurate, then you move, you know, to the next phase of what you would like to do. With your credit reports, always, I suggest checking them at least once a year. Now, I do check mine at least once a year. I can admit that because I do not open up accounts very often. I look at my credit report once a year. Whereas though my credit monitoring service, I look at very frequently, at least 2 or 3 times a month. Yeah, and then my bank account, I look at that weekly. Almost not daily, but quite a few times a week, just to make sure there are no unauthorized charges or anything that I am not aware of, because it's my money and I want it now. So yeah, just a little PSA. I'm really big on making sure you are aware of what's happening in your financial portfolio. I don't care if you have a savings account, a checkings account, and it's only $10 in there. You want to be aware of what's happening with your $10 because it's your $10. So yeah, please, I beg of thee. Now, ways to improve your credit. This is not going to be a very long video today. However, ways to improve your credit. Check your credit report for errors. If there are any errors on your credit report, get them removed. I'll be discussing the dispute process or how to get things removed from your credit report at a later video, not this one. Other thing you can do is pay your bills on time. You want to make sure that your payment history, which is how much? 35%. Your payment history is impeccable, close to impeccable. Next thing you want to do is the 30%, reduce the amount of debt that you owe or your credit utilization. So keep credit card balances low. But what you can do, right? You can request for a credit increase, right? So asking for a higher credit limit will reduce your overall credit utilization. So say, for example, you have a credit card and it has maybe like a $3,000 balance and you're over that 30%. However, you've been paying it back. You can call the lender and ask, can your credit limit increase, so that when your credit limit increase, your utilization decreases. So that's a nice little trick you could try. However, if you do get or request a credit limit increase, that's not a license to go ahead and just ball out and use more of your credit. No, it's a tool there to help you get your utilization down. So just keep that in mind. Also, be responsible with your credit cards. When I say credit cards, that could be like a Visa, a MasterCard, Discover, American Express. Also retail cards as well, such as like Walmart, Macy's, whatever type of credit card. Be careful with how you use them. Is a credit card is not just free money. You have to pay it back, so don't go balling out. It's okay to get, splurge and get some purchases, but for the most part, make sure you're using your credit cards and your retail cards responsibly. Especially if you have a financial goal in mind, such as purchasing a house, a car, or anything where you'll need a loan, where anything you'll need to apply for a loan. So you just want to do those things. Now, before I get to my quick story about why you need to check your credit monitoring services often, I believe my last video I discussed ways to increase your credit is by applying for secured credit cards, right? And you may be like, well, I don't know of any secured credit cards. A secured credit card is a good way to start building credit. And then it's also, if you have bad credit, it's a good way to increase your credit. It's a nice little help. I don't know if you hear that in the background, but please forgive me. There's some stuff being done in the kitchen. So places you can go to apply for a secure credit card. First off, you can go to your bank. Whoever you bank with, you can sit down with one of the bank representatives and apply for a secured credit card. You can go to Discover, apply for the Discover It secured credit card. These are places you can go to online. Open Sky has one. Capital One has a secured credit card. Citi has a secured MasterCard. They used to be called Citibank, but now it's just Citi, C-I-T-I. And US Bank has a secured Visa. So you can go to these places online. I believe most of them don't have a fee. If they, I don't know which one of them have a annual fee, but I believe it's pretty low, like $49. But do your own research. What I would do if I were you and I needed to build my credit and I needed a secure credit card is I would write down all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if you include your bank. I would write down all of them and just do a little bit of homework on the interest rate, I would do my homework to look at what the interest rate is on these, if they have any annual fees, things like that. So yeah, start with a secured credit card. If you do have a relationship with your local bank, you can also apply for a secured loan. Secured loan works in the same way as a secured credit card does. However, it's a loan. With a secure credit card as well as a secured loan, you put up the money, the collateral, which is your credit limit, and then you just proceed to use the product as usual. Now, quick story. I know someone who recently called me after my last video where I was discussing having a credit monitoring service, and this person told me that they checked their credit monitoring service and discovered that somebody had opened up a bank account in their name. Not sure who did it. She did contact the bank, and they're currently looking into it. I'm not quite sure how someone could do that, but people have ways. So you never know what's happening with your information, who has access to it, with all these different breaches, with different websites, different companies. You just can't be too sure. So please, I beg of thee, get a credit monitoring service. Credit Sesame, Credit Karma, they are free, Free. Sign up and check. You can also get credit monitoring services through your bank, through your credit card, Experian, TransUnion. So you can either get a free one or a paid one. So it's no excuse not to have one. Yeah, so if you have any questions, any credit questions, or any credit topics that you would like me to discuss, just drop it down in the comments. Let me know. I'm going to try to drop another video by Saturday. The next video, I'll be breaking down how to read a credit report. Just so you can have all the knowledge that you need to learn about credit, master credit, and have good credit. So the more you know, the more you know. So I believe that's it. I believe that's all. Till next time, see you later. You see this? Follow me here on Instagram, the.wealth.strategist.